son of a mother-clocking, self-righteous, martyr-complex, attention-whoring grievance-monger. If there was ever a reason why we need another good war to thin the herd, it's this.
My name is Suey, and the hashtag CancelColbert nearly ruined my life.
So Suey Park is back to tell everyone how the internet almost ruined her life. Suey Park, a quick history. Stephen Colbert made a joke.
I'm willing to show the Asian community I care by introducing the Ching Chong Ding Dong Foundation for Sensitivity to Orientals, or whatever. And it was quoting a segment from earlier that night.
The Ching Chong Ding Dong Foundation for Sensitivity to Orientals, or whatever.
And Suey Park did what social justice warriors do best. She got offended and started a hashtag to cancel Colbert.
And so I said the Ching Chong Ding Dong Foundation for Sensitivity to Orientals would like to cancel Colbert. Trended.
Which got her 15 kilobytes of internet e-fame. She then went on to solidify this by telling a white guy that he couldn't understand certain problems because his skin was too white.
Especially as a white man, I don't expect you to be able to understand what people of color are actually saying.
And of course, came across as one of the most obnoxious, rich, privileged, offended by design, entitled princesses ever.
You just called my opinion stupid. You just called my opinion stupid. That's incredibly unproductive, and I don't think I'm going to enact the labor of having to explain to you why that's incredibly offensive and patronizing.
Explain.
I just told you I wouldn't enact that labor.
Okay, thanks for being with us, Suey.
And of course, telling the unwashed masses how privileged they were, which was especially ironic seeing as she's an Asian. You know, the most privileged class in America. Whites on average earn only about 80 cents on the dollar compared to an Asian. A clearly racist pay gap that no one has any interest in closing for some completely unexplained reason. While every goddamn politician on earth wants to close a similar pay gap between men and women.
The typical woman who works full-time still earns 79 cents for every dollar that the typical man does.
I mean, it's not like when you actually normalize for all the factors that men and women get paid almost exactly the same. And it's not like that pay gap is actually due to the fact that men and women tend to have different career choices, which tend to lead to different works with different types of pay. So how the internet ruined my life as this fantastic reenactment of how there's this sniper actually lining up his shot and pulling back the bolt to cap Suey Park as she paces up and down in front of a well-lit open window at night. Seriously guys, just randomly at night, how many people appear as nicely framed in windows like this? And of course, if someone messages you telling you that they're outside your house with a gun, how can you show that you're taking it seriously unless you write back calling them a liar? So, according to Suey, there's this ex-military sniper.
Was untraceable, and it said, I am an ex-military sniper. You are prepare to die. I'm outside your house. I have a target on you.
Because, you know, hashtag activists are often targeted by ex-military snipers. Indeed, it's now officially the third leading cause of death in America. And this professional sniper was so hardcore that, of course, he sends a message to his target telling he's got his sights on her or something. Because, you know, snipers do that these days. And, of course, you know that all American snipers can be thwarted just by closing the shutters, packing and leaving through the front door. Because it's well known that military snipers are incapable of hitting targets leaving through the front door carrying heavy bags.
I really did think that there was a chance that I could die. The police really weren't any help at this point.
What?
The police really weren't any help at this point. It was kind of just this survival mode.
Oh, God. I mean, it's almost like Suey Park is afraid of the dark. And what she can't see, she makes up. So just because she can't see what's in the dark, there are snipers there. God knows what she thinks is under the bed or hiding in the closet.
But every so often, they remain mysteriously incredible. Monster in the closet.
We must act immediately. Destroy all closets.
After this, she tweeted about how she was getting a therapy animal.
1 second. My mom just came home.
Who need something to be neurotic about so they can tweet about their therapy and how they're soon to be getting a therapy animal? Oh my god, really? She's getting a therapy animal and she has the gall to call anyone else privileged. Suey then went into hiding from this international cabal desperately seeking to kill this threat to something for some reason. Because now, really, criticising Colbert is dangerous. Really dangerous. I mean, much more dangerous than, say, criticising, I don't know, Islam.
After that, I did safe housing, which is when you keep changing your location so that people can't track your whereabouts. I was using burner phones. We would replace them once or twice a day so that I could still make personal calls with people that were communicating to keep me in hiding.
Now, really, these weren't the paranoid fantasies of someone with delusions of grandeur. There were really all of these people out to get Suey part. And they managed to track her down even though she'd moved to New York City.
I was in a really big slump, and so my friends thought, hey, everyone knows that I'm a Chicagoan. No one's going to suspect that I'm here. It would be great if I went to the club and kind of improve my mood. Nobody would be able to identify me without my long hair. It would be completely safe.
Yeah, Suey, I'm sure you were devastated by having to cut your beautiful long hair such that no one would recognize you. I mean, it's not like this is what your hair looked like merely a month or so earlier.
We went to this dance bar. Then I noticed a group of people that weren't dancing, but were in fact gawking at us and taking photos. I became very angry. I grabbed this phone. I started screaming at him. This is not right. And as I start deleting these photos and scrolling back, I realized that there were pictures from days before in Queens and in Brooklyn. I became very disoriented. I just dropped the phone.
They'd managed to follow her around all day, even though merely seconds earlier she claimed to be hiding in her apartment for weeks.
At this point on, I basically stayed in one room all day without any interaction with the outside world. I realized that there were pictures from days before in Queens and in Brooklyn.
Yeah, these ninjas had followed her around all the time she was locked up in her apartment. And for some strange reason, they all managed to stand in plain sight taking pictures of her in a nightclub. It's not like, say, for instance, everyone takes pictures in a nightclub. Now, they dedicated their lives to finding her. It's not like they had jobs or anything. Yeah, sure, the only thing that they were trying to spend their life doing was to find the soupy hark who had criticised Colbert. The really stupid thing, though, is she retroactively claimed that her tweets to Colbert were actually a deliberate attention-mongering hyperbole.
So I didn't actually want the show to be cancelled, but I was trying to think of something catchy and over the top to get my point across.
Because, you know, that's what you gotta do if you want to be an attention whore on the internet.
And it's very, very easy to build up a huge mob against someone from an out-of-context quote. That's what gets you clicks, that's what gets you traffic.
Even though it's bloody clear that she was never joking.
So I didn't actually want the show to be cancelled, but I was trying to think of something catchy and over the top to get my point across.
I think it's really to make a statement that this sort of thing happens weekly, that Asian Americans are always a punchline. And so I think we're just trying to make a point that people will be held accountable the next time they do these sort of things.
So she got exactly what she wanted. She got exactly the media attention she wanted for saying exactly the stupid things that she said.
Constitutional values were written by a white dude responsible for genocide who owned hundreds of slaves. Don't care.
And for some even more bizarre reason, she thinks that this saying stupid shit to get attention is a perfectly valid way of protesting her cause, rather than making her cause look like it's the first world problems of some entitled princess. But oddly enough, she seems to think when other people say things that are obvious hyperbole, it's evil harassment.
The backlash against me really snowballed and got out of hand. There was really an organized effort to harass me in particular.
I can't decide who to dislike more, him or the professional grievance monger, the 24-year-old Twitter chick who tried to get him fired.
Silly bunny. A real professional victim would simply claim that the backlash for her saying all these stupid things is actually proof that society hates women. You know, misogyny. Which brings us on to Anita Sarkeesian's latest blog post, which is remarkable. on so many levels. Firstly, she claims that she's not trying to be some sort of Orwellian moderator who just wants to try and get social platforms to silence anyone who disagrees with her, even though that's exactly what she's been trying to do.
I think it's important to recognize that harassment is, as someone had mentioned, it's not just what is legal and illegal, right? Harassment is threats of violence, but it's also the day-to-day grind of you're a liar, you suck. Creating a cultural shift, I think, takes a great number of approaches, and we've been hearing a lot about systemic change, and that makes me really happy because I think that that's really how we have to do this. And so one of those approaches is, I think that the online social media sites and the places in which we are engaging on these large platforms really need to step up and change the way that their systems operate.
But Anita's a super hardcore professional victim. Even when she's been black and white caught lying to people's faces, she still has the balls to say that all of you people calling her a liar because she's been lying.
My analysis is very well researched. It's double and triple checked. It has to be, given the intense level of scrutiny focused on my every word. This is one of the main reasons why each episode takes so long to produce.
For the purposes of this video, I tried to get a glimpse of Batman's rear end, but it's as if his cape is a high-tech piece of Wayne Industries equipment designed to cover up his butt at all costs.
Actually, Anita, it's a high-tech piece of Wayne Industries technology that allows Batman to fly. You know, part of the game mechanics. But I've got good news for you. If you really want to see Batman's ass, you could try playing the game.
Look who it is. I can't say I'm surprised.
She still has the balls to say that all of you people calling her a liar because she's been lying are actually a vast conspiracy of misogynists. They're designed to make me out as a powerful enemy of free speech who is determined to crush the expression of any ideas she doesn't agree with. This conspiracy and others like it are themselves a manifestation of misogyny. They are born out of a deep distrust and hatred of women. They're designed to foster fear and serve as a warning to other women about what awaits them if they challenge the status quo. She's crazy. Pro tip, Anita, learn from the Fine Brothers. Lying to people's faces when they can simply show that you're lying to them is not such a smart idea. Like when the Fine Brothers claimed that they weren't trying to trademark the word react, when they actually did. And how they said that they didn't want to silence people by taking down videos that had any kind of react format, when that's exactly what they've been doing. But hey, at least the Fine Brothers had the common decency to apologize by saying that they were sorry that you were just too stupid to understand that they were doing exactly the same thing they said they had no intention of doing.
First and foremost, we're sorry for confusing people by using terminology like our react format. We were never trying to say that every video where someone reacts to something else is something we would try to control. When we referenced licensing the react format, we only meant our specific series, not the overall genre of reaction.
And you have the balls to tell us that you aren't doing this when you blatantly are.
And that's exactly what you look like, Anita, when you say you're not trying to censor people, when that's your exact stated goal.
What are there's so many things, right? We could brainstorm a million ways that we could create these structural changes. And creating structural change means people have to follow those structures.
But I'll give credit to Anita. She plays the game well. She's hardcore. Nah, you calling her a liar because she lied to you, that's because you hate women. This conspiracy and others like it are themselves a manifestation of misogyny. A line that's almost creepy in its resemblance to the defense that the CEDA president gave about the attacks on the true genius debating skills of the CEDA finalists.
Instead of spending the month since the CEDA National Debate Tournament celebrating their victory and reflecting on their historic moment, they have been on the defensive. Stories have emerged attacking the champions from Towson and finalists from Oklahoma for their argumentative choices and style.
Say the black is the berry, the sweeter the juice. I say the darker the flesh and the deeper the roots.
Coming to slave, the nigger in the space is coming to production. What she keeps saying, how do you produce? What is it? What are you producing? I said the idea of producing is a bad thing because you're essentially producing for white society. When I'm identify how the nigger does not produce anything for white society, hence the 1AC and doesn't produce any type of white scholarship as identification, how you tear down those functioning things. So to make it clear for you that black man is a victim stuff.
We are saying that queer bodies are not able to survive, that it necessarily means that the body of the nigga is not able to survive. Now they say that the nigga can be oriented to no particular place in time, but it's still overdetermined by the narratives of the 1AC that foreclose the future for the nigga, which means that they are not even able to access the survival.
I didn't get police. Bitches were afraid to go to the fucking bathroom. Now Marriott creates a few different impacts for lynching. First is deconstructing of the utopian political imagination.
Nah, you'll be happy to know that those attacks weren't motivated because they were full of shit.
These attacks on Towson, Oklahoma, and others in our debate community are motivated by racism and fear. These attacks are reprehensible, despicable, and must not be tolerated.
Yeah, of course, the attacks on the finalists were solely motivated by racism.
My name is Paul Mabry, and I support the C to 4 because
the niggas of the nigga is the nigga, authentic nigga, two niggas.
War power should not be used against niggas.
I support the C to 4 because they represent what is good about debate and the future of our society.
And of course, how does Anita justify all this? Why, how she always does, of course, with a handful of tweets, some of which I have no idea how she even found them. Firstly, because she blocks almost everyone. Secondly, a load of these don't even tweet at her in any way. So what? I mean, does she just spend hours Googling anything to do with herself and then harvesting anything that she might even remotely be able to get offended about so she can write a piece like this? I mean, you don't have to look at these like this one with 1 like, or this one with no likes or no retweets. This one, 3 likes. This one, nothing. This one, 1 like. This one, absolutely nothing. This, 1 retweet, 2 likes, or this one with a couple of retweets. I mean, it really does look like Anita is scouring the internet for the most obscure things so she can just be offended about it. Well, I mean, that would certainly explain a lot, like why a project which was initially forecast to take a few months and cost $6,000 has now raked in almost $1 million of funding, is over 3 years late, and has only delivered 2/5 of what was initially promised.
I'm going to look at the damsel in distress, the fighting toy, the sexy sidekick, the sexy villainess, and the most common trope in video games, women as background decoration.
And while we're on the subject, Anita, next time you're at the United Nations, why not bring up some real oppression of women in countries like Saudi Arabia, rather than prioritizing that someone said that you sucked online, and that's a real problem that the United Nations needs to step in and address.
I think it's important to recognize that harassment is, as someone had mentioned, it's not just what is legal and illegal, right? Harassment is threats of violence, but it's also the day-to-day grind of you're a liar, you suck.
Just saying, it might make you appear more like a feminist who actually cares about women's rights, and less like a self-entitled princess bitching over first world problems. Which, of course, brings us back to Suey Park and how terrified she was that even though almost no one knew who she was or why she was, famous, she still spent months hiding from the boogeyman.
After that, I did safe housing, which is when you keep changing your location so that people can't track your whereabouts. I was using burner phones. We would replace them once or twice a day so that I could still make personal calls with people that were communicating to keep me in hiding.
And how she fantastically managed to dodge all those ex-military snipers by using burner phones and changing houses. I mean, those are some elite ghosting skills you got there, Suey. I mean, they must be, because you managed to survive all of those ex-military snipers.